Experience the power of faith, music, and praise. This is the Max Urban Gospel Chart Show. Every Sunday from 10 a.m., tune in to catch the pulse-pounding beats and soul-stirring melodies that will elevate your faith and leave a lasting impact on your heart. The Max Urban Gospel Chart Show. Every Sunday from 10 a.m. exclusively on Max FM, where we count down the best 20 urban gospel hits from around the world. Get your praise on. You're my provider. You're my provider.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Alaja Limakashat. How are you today?
I've lost my voice. I'm grateful to God.
This is...
You know, this Ramadan has just been a blessing. Every week has been a blessing. I'm so grateful. Grateful for all the deals and jobs and work, and I'm grateful for family. Also, please donate to the Doctors Cancer Foundation. We're doing the awareness for Ramadan, and the poster on my page. Thank you.
Please go to the page and make donation to what, in case you did not
hear me.
In case you did not hear what Nima said. Nima said there's been plenty blessings during this Ramadan, and that in this Ramadan season she's raising funds for Doctors Foundation, which is the foundation that helps people that have children that have cancers, and the flyer for the details is on our Instagram page. So go there and get the details. How are you doing, Me, I'm also in a very grateful girl era. So yesterday I signed my first brand ambassador for M360, and the figure is like about 2020. Like before 2020, I was praying, as we have been on in this media space, you see people signing brand ambassador deal. If you're telling yourself, God, give me brand ambassador deal, somebody will give me money like this, cash, and then just say, I'll be representing them, I'll be talking about them, and I did not get any. I'm like, God did not answer the prayer the way I wanted him to answer it, but he answered in a different way, because as I was signing it yesterday, I was like, now you they sign brand ambassador now. So he's a comedian, Kelbenki. He has over 1 million followers on Facebook. He's basically on Facebook, and he has the kind of people I want to appeal to. So I reached out to him, told him about representing our brand, and we had a conversation back and forth. Lawyers have signed deal. And that was why I couldn't be on the show yesterday. So I'm feeling extremely like, that's so it be. We shall do the work, they do the work, they go little by little.
Fantastic.
We'll get there.
Good. Ramatu, how are you?
I'm doing well. So of course we're still in the Ramadan spirit. Yesterday I woke up and I was just missing my kids. I was just like, let me call them. You know, you can call at any time. So I decided to call. Yeah, so I called to speak to them. They were like, no, they are at prep or doing something. I was like, oh, I'll wait till after prep. I'll call. I called back again. They didn't allow me to speak to them. So I'll just still try. Yes, I'll still try again today and see how far. The house is just so quiet. You know, usually Ramadan, you know, you have them around. We are all preparing to eat and all. But now, just today or so.
Okay. Good.
How are you?
I'm fine. I would just like to thank everybody who showed up for my brother's wedding. A lot of people are angry with me that I didn't invite them for my brother's wedding. And it's not because I didn't want to, just that I had limited
It's not your wedding.
It wasn't my wedding, and it's my brother's wedding. And, you know, even though, yes, I was prominent there, but they only gave me very limited seats. I couldn't take it over. But I'd love to take over, because for me, minimum, I needed 100 guests, but they didn't allow me to have it, because I have brothers too. So I couldn't invite everybody, but thank you for those who came. It was a glorious
It was a glorious event.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
God, thank God. God was faithful. And I'm really excited. So we're going to Dubai by God's grace, you know, for International Women's Leadership Conference very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's go on a very short break now. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So this morning we don't have the papers, but we just have to try to go through the newspapers, because we don't have our physical papers here in the studio. We're going to be starting with The Nation as usual. Tinubu to Fubara, comply fully with the Supreme Court verdict. Also, ECOWAS activates 5,000 strong standby force. Who else wants to read another paper? Another story there. There's gas tanker fire under the Otedola Bridge causes gridlock. NIMET predicts intense heat in 19 states. Natasha reports Senate to Inter-Parliamentary Union. And those are the stories here. I'm not sure which one of the stories that the ladies have.
Okay, so I have the NIMET that has the 19 states of impending heat stress. They said NIMET has alerted residents of 19 states, that's the southeast and coastal areas, to impending heat stress. And the states are Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, Oyo, Kogi, Nasarawa, Benue, Enugu, Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, Cross River, and the Federal Capital Territory. They said that that the potential health risks include fatigue, irritability, reduced focus, and motor skills, and it also lowers productivity. They're also saying that we should be very mindful. We should make sure that we stay cool by using fans, air conditioning, and then that we should dress light and drink lots of water so that we can be hydrated. I can imagine Kaduna right now will be very, very hot. And you know, the likes of the Maiduguri, you know, all those desert areas is going to be extremely hot. And you know, the heat, terrible.
President Tinubu talking to the governor of Rivers State. So, PANDEF, that's the Niger Delta Forum, had gone to see the president, asking him to intervene in the logjam that is happening in Rivers State. And I like the president's position. Rule of law. he said to them, he said, I put the ball back to you. Go back home and help him implement the Supreme Court judgment. He says, I put the ball back in your court. Help him because I have reached out to him privately and openly and intervened and counseled the governor on this issue. When the Supreme Court has spoken, it has spoken. And that's it. He said only yesterday I still reached out to him and I begged him to toe the path of peace.
Who is talking to?
He was talking to the PAN-DEF group, the Pan-Niger Data group. He went to see the president over this River State issue. And so the president said, this is a nation governed by rule of law. I should not be here as president if there's no rule of law. And that's basic. Humans can make error, but when the Supreme Court rules, it rules. And I like the words of the president. So this is back to the governor of River State. Don't boil the state. It is simple. Represent the budget, negotiate and lobby with the House of Assembly members. They are your people. They are not strangers to you. You have your differences, but find ways to make it work. And it's not that hard.
Okay, so I have the story of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan. This is following the story of the heated confrontation with the Senate President over a sitting arrangement, which she claimed the sitting arrangement changes were made to undermine her. And she's currently suspended. She's been suspended. And on Tuesday, she took this issue to the Women in Parliament session during the Inter-Parliamentary Union meeting at the United Nations in New York. Senator Akpoti-Oduaghan called for the international intervention to hold the Senate President accountable. She asserted that she was facing political victimization, intimidation for demanding an open and transparent investigation into sexual harassment allegations against the Senate President. And our call is for the international community and to the world should not say silence as democracy and women's rights, according to her, is being rolled back in Nigeria. And so she's reaching out. She's not backing down concerning the issues happening with the suspension and all that has happened to her at the National Assembly. So we're waiting to see how this would pan out. She also refused to apologize for the situation, describing it as an attempt by powerful men to silence her, and that is a clear case of victimization. So we're waiting to see how the international... So
they had responded saying that they would also like to hear from the other side, and they've heard her story, and certainly obviously it will be considered. However, they also like to hear from the other side, so we'll see how that goes. The ECOWAS, according to the story in The Nation, ECOWAS activates 5,000-strong standby force. The ECOWAS had activated this force as a result of trying to secure the transborder crimes in the sub-region, to curb the transborder crimes in the sub-region. The Minister of Defense, Muhammadu Badaru, announced this during the 43rd Ordinary Meeting of the ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense in Abuja. They were here in Abuja. And everybody was there except Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, which had withdrawn from the sub-regional body. So all the Badaru was saying that the meeting underscored their shared commitment to addressing the critical security challenges confronting that region. He called on the West African Chiefs of Defense Staff to close ranks to break the cycle of terrorism and armed violence confronting the region. I don't know how this is going to be sustained without these three key states who are also supposed to be part of ECOWAS, but I hope there's still a lot of reconciliatory meetings going on to see how we can bring them back into the fold. Okay, we're going to let's do the sun. There's no punch today. You have punch. Sorry. Let's take punch online since we have punch it online. Punch online. It says anger over herders' deadly attacks in Ondo, Benue, Nasarawa, and 30 killed. Marketers project 80 naira per litre as imported petrol costs drops. 5 billion naira vehicle purchase deepens Obasa and Miranda feud. Tinubu meets Niger Delta leaders for our plans meeting with pro-Wike lawmakers. And Natasha takes face-off with Senate to the United Nations. Okay. Which story?
Okay, 5 billion naira. As it is now, scatter.
Oh, you're not drinking tea. Okay, I'm drinking tea.
So, the 5 billion naira was used for the purchase of cars, according to the witnesses who are speaking to the Punch. So, one person speaking on the side of the former speaker. Former Speaker Miranda had approved for 5 billion. Now, the original news is that the present Speaker Obasa, while he was Speaker in December, had approved 7 billion for the same cars. And so when she took over office from him,
she reduced the price.
Yes, she saved 2 billion. He had approved 7 billion for the cars to be brought in from Dubai from a bidder of his own interest, according to the report. And she came into office and approved 5 billion for a local company to provide the cars. According to the Punch, they were 25. I'm coming now. They brought it locally. I'm going to get the figure now.
We want to see how our elders would resolve this one now and save us the 2 billion.
Yes, so they saved she saved 2 billion, but she approved for them to be done locally. So 35 units of Toyota Fortuner SUVs and 10 units of Toyota Prado.
The same quotes, but different prices.
So she knew he had approved that money. But when she came into office, she then went ahead and did it locally. So now he's looking into the matter as the speaker and saying, why do you go ahead and approve the money? That's why we're discussing it here. And the other lawmakers are not quarreling. So my point is that they're not even fighting for any of us. At the lawmaker, all of you are fine. We're all right. At the end of the day.
This is a person, this is a
international. 2 billion, that's all I
know. 2 billion. So
okay. 2 billion, don't say about it or no.
We don't know.
They'll be okay. Fine.
Another Punch further story.
Okay, so I have the killing spree, the anger over headers. They said residents of several communities in Ondo, Benue, Nasarawa, and Edo states are reeling from deadly attacks by suspected armed headers, sparking widespread outrage and protests. They said a total of 30 people were reportedly killed in the series of attacks across the 3 states, with communities calling across the 3 states. They said in Ondo, they said 9 surveyors were kidnapped, while in Edo, 2 residents were abducted and 4 others suffered gun and machete wounds. And then they said in Benue, 3 members of the state's civil protection guards were ambushed and killed by suspected headers. So they are calling on, the communities are calling for urgent government intervention, saying the government should please intervene. The story is very, very long, but I just summarized it to this for us to be able to understand what's going on there.
Okay, I have the market story.
Oh, okay.
The price war. So there's the price war in the downstream oil sector intensified on Tuesday as major oil marketers moved to offer a lower price than Dangote. This development followed a revelation by the marketers that the landing cost of the PMS imported into Nigeria had dropped to 774 naira and 72 kobo per litre. Marketers said the continued price plunge may lead to a reduction in the actual pump price at the station to about 800 naira per litre, which is below, because Dangote is about 825 currently. Okay. Dealer said that the 774 naira per litre landing cost, which factors in various expenses including shipping, import duties, and exchange rates, is a considerable reduction of 50 naira from the 825 naira per litre offered at the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. The situation, according to industry stakeholders, has ignited a price war, with retail marketers now opting to dump the refinery products for imported products on the basis of power price. This is a lot of
price goes down.
It's competition. So we are. It's quite interesting. But how does international imported automatically go down? What is going on?
Because it's less quality.
No, it's not that. It could be cheaper before.
Yes, they're just now.
It could be cheaper before.
Yeah, it could be. I know you do. Anyway, let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with our paper review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one better.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
Okay. That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert, and a bit of nightcap. We have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You scissors. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Hey!
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. TVC Entertainment for pure entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Thanks for staying with us. We're moving on now to Daily Sun. Pro-Natasha women groups begin mass protest today. Senate asks INEC to fill vacant Senate seats in Edo and Anambra. Again, Fubara assures of full implementation of Supreme Court judgment. IMO 2028 Guba. Uzodimma vows to implement Charter of Equity. Insist on Owerri zone. NSITF strengthens commitment to workers' welfare. Edo government accuses PDP leaders of sponsoring kidnapping in state, and 68 million poor Nigerians in social register, says federal government. Okay, story? Who has any story there?
Okay, so the story I have in Daily Sun is about the fact that NST, that's the NSITF, the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, Mr. Oluwaseun Falaye, has reiterated the agency's commitment to workers' welfare. So in order to achieve that, they requested a 25 million naira compensation check that they've presented a 25 million naira compensation check to members of the National Assembly, Staff Assembly, and they emphasize that the fund is to accelerate compensation processes and heightened sense of responsibility. So many people complain about when things go wrong, the compensation comes so late that the effect is not being felt. So the clerk to the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlano, has commended the NSTIF for its commitment to supporting Nigerian workers and prompt response to the disbursement of benefits. And of course, we had many people attending the ceremony, but in case you don't understand, the real issue is paying compensations faster. We have workers that maybe lose their lives, get injured, or the insurance doesn't come through as fast as it could because they don't have enough funds to support them. This way, we have a pool of funds available to to fasten the disbursement of compensation to people that need it, workers that need it. So it's a good step in the right direction.
Okay, so I have the story here. The federal government has captured 68 million poor Nigerians in the National Social Register. So according to the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, I think it's run by, let's say, I think Miss Fumi Olotu, says that they have so far captured 68 million Nigerian poor. If you recall, anytime there's this social welfare or this cash transfer, Nigerians always ask, how do you know who you're giving to? Where where are the vulnerable communities that you're giving out this money? So what they've done is to get a database of all poor Nigerians who are living obviously under the poverty line and the vulnerable communities, to identify who they are, where they live in, and so that when they do the cash transfers, they can know exactly who gets it. So the NASCO disclosed this in the verified social media handle on the Instagram. The agency also explained that the figure represented a total of 19 million vulnerable households across the 36 states and the FCT. The idea behind the NSR is to create a comprehensive database of poor and vulnerable households in the country. This is to assist governments to design, coordinate, and integrate social safety net programs into social protection systems, including the distribution of conditional cash transfer. Mr. Lotu said in her mission statement that the National Register would ensure that social protection initiatives are targeted to only impactful and evidence-based communities. So I'm happy about that, because we always worry about who is actually getting these monies. And I'm happy that Nigeria, it's been captured in this database. Any other story in Daily Sun?
No.
Somebody has the protest said the pro-Natasha women groups begin mass protests today to demand justice for suspended senator. Pro-Akpabio protesters also demand harsher punishment for female lawmaker, and LP youth seek Tinubu's intervention. This is getting it's getting easier by the day.
The chairman House Committee on Ethics, Senate Committee on Ethics, has been indicted in the US for fraud. So everything is just messy.
Very messy.
There's no governance
before we have to, before this clash leads to loss of lives or fighting happens, it will be interesting for us to guess where the funding comes up, because very rarely do you have protests in Nigeria without financial support. So if we can trace the account, we find who is funding.
Don't forget that each of them are political blocks.
Yes.
They have following. So your people can actually come together and show support and try. So this is that is only
the funding matter.
It's no brainer.
Peaceful protest.
Yeah. Anyway, any other story? Should we move on now to Vanguard?
Yes,
Rivers Council, Fubara, Tinubu tells Niger Delta leaders. Council Fubara for Tinubu tells Niger Delta leaders. Let's find the story. Anger as herdsmen had bandits kill 42 in Benue and Nasarawa State and Ondo. Suspend hike in ATM transaction charges, reps tell CBN. And diphtheria at King's College, Lagos government begins vaccination. Okay, which story?
Yes, I have the story of suspending the hike in ATMs. So the story is that the reps, the House of Representatives, have called for the immediate suspension of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's new increase in ATM transaction fees. The resolution followed the fact that there was a plenary that took place in Abuja, and it was a motion moved by Marcus Onubo, and they said instead of this transaction that is saying 100 naira per 20,000 naira withdrawals using other ATMs, he has expressed worry that the new charges would limit financial inclusion, particularly for low-income earners. And they said that it contradicts the CBN's financial inclusion agenda. He also said that the bank continued to record significant profit without corresponding improvement in service delivery and infrastructure, making the new changes unjustified. So we're hoping to see, he said, customers have also complained about the implementation and how it hasn't really been effective. The charge of 100 naira, an additional surcharge of 500 naira, that citizens are already grappling with multiple economic hardship, including high inflation, increase in fuel price, electricity tariff, numerous banking service charge, and significant reduced disposable income and negative impact of economic welfare on people. That this is also an additional hardship. This is one time that we are supporting the House of Rep in their pressure against the CBN. This is one policy we want it to be suspended as quick as possible. I sent text message and I saw 6 naira. I said, text message has become 6 naira. Wow. Yeah. So these things are having impact, and we should really see how we can push it.
So in addition to what he said that the banks are recording profits. You know, they are making serious profit and at the end of the day, they are not providing services. So they are not going hand in hand with what they are proposing and all. So
who has diphtheria? Nobody took that story.
Well, I think the story as well.
In Lagos State.
Took my story.
I have the kidnappers, the major headline. The anger headsmen, So the report takes account of how bandits have attacked in Nasarawa. Farmers have been killed and kidnapped. Surveyors have been kidnapped in Ondo. Farmers have been killed, 42 in Nasarawa and Benue State. The accounts of how farmers worries me, because that's when we start to deal with food prices again. So they attacked farms in Benue State and Kia killed a pregnant woman. They say headers and bandits. There was hoodlums hijacked protests also in Omiri Council, according to the chairman. And it's just a sad story of everything. But the account of the government in the Ondo State is so painful. The special advisor to the governor is saying that the surveyors shouldn't have gone into the forest without police protection, and that they are at fault for going. And he's also asking the people to go and cry out.
And usually there's mining involved in this thing. Let's just call it. Whenever you see banditry, it is areas where there are natural resources and minerals where mining is taking place. That's why they employ bandits to protect.
That's why we need government. In Osho, for instance, we know that mining is happening. We need government to be on top of it. Government must ensure.
They are mining. All of them
government has data of all of this and protect.
We have to wrap up, but I think it's important. I just mentioned this quick story about Lagos State has started vaccination exercise considering the diphtheria of students and staff of the King's College Annex in Victoria Island to prevent the spread of the highly contagious disease. This was following the outbreak disease which claimed the life of a 12-year-old student. Some parents have asked their child and what to stay home. I didn't know about this story. Really, really sad. You guys
we took it to
that story.
Well, this is like an update.
Okay, so
but they've already, there are 34 of them are already, 34 contacts, people that we feel they've had contact with this. The primary person has been secluded. They said they've been placed in observation and 10 are receiving treatment for diphtheria. So at least there's speedy activities to combat it.
Let me go on a short break now. We come back and move on to our next special feature. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regular.
So let me go and look for my jam results.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show. I can go. I can. That's all we can take. I choose to close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym to get fat. Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too. Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person that used to sus? What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up now.
And Joe's been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. TVC Entertainment for pure entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on today's show is an inspirational speaker, serial entrepreneur who is currently the Chief Executive Officer of GTEX Holdings, Mr. Stephen Akintaya, and is also the Chief Executive Officer of Stephen Akintaya Consulting International. He'll be speaking on his business growth classmate. Welcome with us, Dr. Stephen Akintaya in the building.
Thank you. Congratulations.
How are you? Yeah, your first time in our studio.
Wow.
Yes, it is. Don't worry, we'll take you on the tour. You know, it's good for you. Good to have you. You look nice. How have you been?
Good.
We see you around the world, you know.
Thank God.
Congratulations on all you're doing. So we heard about this business growth masterclass that you're working on. What is it about exactly?
Well, Stephen Akintaya Foundation is a non-profit arm where we just try to give back. We give grants to small businesses, we do conferences, we do charity events. But this time around, our focus is on entrepreneurs. We realize that businesses are not scaling in Nigeria the way they should. And part of it is not just funding is one of it, but it's the least of the issues. Most times people don't even really know what to do with funding. They don't know how to go about it. In fact, I woke up this morning to a gentleman who, this is even a church, he was to start a ministry and came to us. I've known him over time. And of course made some donation. And then I woke up to saying, I gave the money for the leasing of where we use for our church. And before you know it, apparently the person I thought was the owner of the building also leased it. And the real owner has now chased him out. And apparently he was paying every month. And I paid 1 year lease. You know, and then was, you know, and we couldn't, the ministry doesn't have where to use now. And I remember he said, but you told me that I should be paying in installment. I shouldn't do the entire 1 year. But I felt I had all the money when you donated. I should just pay so that I know the building is secure for 1 year. But these are the kind of issues. Sometimes we even now raise funding for business, you lose it. Everything is gone. And it's not even because you mismanage the system. And it's because we don't have proper mentorship, proper training, and we don't have a lot of people who are doing a bit better, willing to pull other people up. How many businesses do turnover of $1 billion naira every year? If we can have 1 million of such business, that guarantees average business that does 1 billion a year has minimum of 50 employees. Right? That's already 50 million people now have a job. Right? So the conference is to begin to work with business owners to say, how do we scale?
Okay, so I like the part where you mentioned the fact that you said that there are a lot of people who want to start business but they don't know how to go about it and all. So this masterclass, is it mainly for startups or for people who already are already established in the business, or there's a certain industry you are targeting?
It's for first of all, it's general to all sectors, and it's also for both startups and those who've started. Conversation is growth. We are hoping it's going to be the largest business growth conference ever in Nigeria. We're doing massive, in fact, over 20 billboards, TV adverts, CNN adverts are coming up. We're really pushing hard, and because for us, we want it to really reach and bring so many people into the conversation. How do we scale businesses? Oftentimes people reach out to me, oh, you're in 4 continents of the world. How did you do it? Right? How did you get it right with staffing? You know, some people cannot even, they're still struggling with 20 employees. Right? So how do you then scale at that level? So structure, funding, right? Marketing and sales, and so on and so forth. So it's open to everyone. And even if the information is not what you need immediately, it's good to have it and arm yourself with it before your business ever gets to that level. You know, and because you can't just be reactional about your growth.
So I wanted to ask about the common, you mentioned one mistake, really sad story, and this person even had a bit of counsel, and yet the person didn't follow through. So I wanted to ask, what are the common financial mistakes that business owners have made that they usually would make when they are trying to expand? And how the masterclass will equip people with the strategies to deal with those common mistakes?
I think one of it is that we're very emotional in this part of the world, right? So I still will never forget, in this whole world, one of those I trust the most with money is my older brother, right? And at some point he had a business challenge and he wanted me to buy one of his farms. He's into agriculture. You will not believe it, it was him and my lawyer. And like I said, I trust is the one I trust the most in this world with money. Right? And there's no time to go into why. But in future, I won't be dealing with him. Right? It may be my children with his children. Do you see? It may be me and his wife. And we have a case now going viral even on something like this, or between 2 business partners. Right? So oftentimes we just get emotional. It's my brother, it's my cousin, it's my in-law. Just pay the money. Is there any contract? Nothing. Is there anything spelling out? The best time to iron out exit is when you are both smiling. If we both don't agree and want to leave this business, what do we do? It's not that we're yummy, we should agree.
You're right.
Now that we're still smiling, that's when we should agree, and it's written. So in future something goes wrong, we know we just carry the contract. Oh yeah, what did we say we will do when we get to this part of our business?
Okay, so is this masterclass for private businesses only or a public sector?
Is it fasted?
And she can't take ginger because she's fasted, so we have to
take ginger till the break. So is it private businesses only you're looking for, or the public sector?
We want everyone, including the public sector. I mean, I've argued that I have, in the course of expanding our business in 4 continents, I've dealt with people in government offices, right? The way they treat me, I'm always having to look at it again and again, right? If I show you messages in the US with mayors telling, can't you come to our county? I will give you this concession. You know, why must it just be Houston alone? We are also in Texas, we have this benefit. Well, you know, they are wooing you. In Nigeria, I say, who is it? We have to wait 1 hour before we see him. right? And that's why we are not growing, because those in the public sector think that their job is to, and kudos to Mr. President, because I could see intention. I mean, he was the first in recent years that you see him with MDs of companies, right? And trying to, you know, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
You know, I used to be told that before now, you even bribe to go and see the president. Yeah, you literally have to bribe your way. And now you see, so we need people in the public sector to know that for us to make Nigeria work, it's both the public and the private sector.
You know, this thing you said is so powerful.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the example that's in my head because people know I'm talking about them. But it's that thing of you always feel as if somebody owes you.
Yes.
When we should see it as a large, all together trying to build an industry.
Your own side and doing my own
But let me
side.
talk about the administration, Tinubu's administration for a second, because a lot of people are really crying in this economy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But do you think people can scale their businesses in the current administration as we have it right now? So
my argument is that we as entrepreneurs, our job is to solve problems. And that's why in every country, government that really know what they are doing, they bring entrepreneurs closer. Once election is over, we need to govern. And you can see even what's happening between politicians and Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Right? And today now, Elon Musk's business is suffering, is in shambles. And to even help him, you know, Trump said, okay, I will buy your car. All of that, we need to support this. Because he's trying to curb excesses and waste. And you will not believe that the corruption will fight back in America, where people support. And now he say, no, there's $400 million here lost, this wasted here. So to the Tinubu administration, I see, for us in business, we felt the pain of his reforms. But those who really have foresight and don't want to play emotion or politics can see that really, if they follow through, this is the way out. You know, I mean, I've never necessarily been a fan of Tinubu administration, but when subsidy was removed, I supported it. When the devaluation of the naira, all of those policies, we knew if you see a government that is committed, it will work. For us as entrepreneurs, our own job is to say, okay, where are the problems? Can we provide solutions? Because that's really our job. Where there is a problem, we provide solution. Okay, people are complaining petrol is expensive. Then you are seeing entrepreneurs come with CNG, you know, convert. That's really entrepreneurship. Convert cars we used to use petrol to, can they use, you know, certain type of gas to reduce costs? Every challenge is an opportunity to make money for you as an entrepreneur. So yes, you can scale even in this economy. But of course, we still want government to be more friendly. Right? Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to her question, right, how do we scale beyond Nigeria, that's beyond Africa, and just like to maybe copy their policies and
to expand globally as you have done?
Yeah, I think I've argued that the problem is that people don't know that they need to start packaging themselves as a global company from today. Right? Some people run their business like a family business, and the day you now need to go global, there's already a problem. And there's nothing wrong to run it as a family business. As I shared this weekend, I said never hire someone you cannot fire. At some point in our organization, I fired my wife before. Right? It's not emotions. And she's still my wife, and she's still equity owner of the business. That doesn't, is administrative, you know, decision here, right? We think you are not competent in this role, I have to let you go on this role. So those are the kind of approach that is affecting most businesses from scaling, because you too much emotions, too much sentiments, and when you then go into expand globally, they don't do sentiments. Everything has to be, there has to be record, there has to be data to prove everything.
We have to wrap up with you, but I need you to just talk very quickly about the masterclass. What's going to happen, who's coming, the structure, the venue, the whole work, so that we...
Yeah, so it's in 2 locations. We're starting with Abuja. Abuja is on the 12th of April, and it's physical, Aladi Kwali Hall. And we also have a VIP session in the evening, while the second day is virtual. Right, and that's the day I'm having all of my international friends and Locke, Brian Tracy. While for Lagos, we're doing 19th and 20th. So 19th it's physical, Eco Hotel, and you know we have amazing guests and myself. Then day 2 is virtual. You know, and there's so much is the value, and there's so many post-event mentorship attached to the conference as well. To really see that we can support businesses beyond
the flyer on the screen.
The conference.
We our phone numbers on the screen.
Yeah, they can just go to the website I think business. We now have a main website www.businessgrowthconference.org, or they can go to that one to steveactel.com/.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you. Wishing you the best coming up with the event.
Thank you.
And we hope that people will actually learn quite a bit from you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I
all we
can
can
but
take.
I choose to stay.
Close the show. Ladies
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym though, you're getting fat.
Cricket.
She says she does show dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, it's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the person that used to sus? What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Entertainment for Pure Entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Do you think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jammies.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jammies.
I want to close the show. I can go. I can. That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show, you Fadala.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym, though. You're getting fat.
Cricket.
She says she does pole dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer,
you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
No, the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You still so what's his name?
That woman.
Damn! Yeah,
Today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's catch up now.
And so we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah?
Thanks for staying with us. Before we introduce our guest, we know that yesterday evening a 30-ton gas truck near the Otedola Bridge section of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway exploded, and quite a few were injured. A few buildings are also destroyed, and our correspondent will be there. He's actually there right now, but we'll try to link up with her in a few moments once we have a link with her, just to give us an update on what's happening at the Otedola Bridge area. It was a quite devastating destruction that happened yesterday. In fact, quite a few buildings burned, and we said it probably claimed a couple of lives. So, but we'll get the confirmation once we're able to link with our correspondent. But first, we'll come back to the studio to our guest. This morning on the show, we'll be discussing food security in Nigeria. Most importantly, its affordability. Though there are multiple reports that show that food prices are going down, there are also reports that farmers are lamenting over this development, attributing the low prices to massive food importation by the federal government. To discuss this and other agricultural matters is an agricultural specialist. Also with us is the author. Welcome with us, Mr. Banjoko Omotune. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Mariah. Thank you.
Good to have you. So, I mean, we were happy because tomatoes was cheaper. I mean, like I bought this big plastic of, was it was 2,000 or something, or even 1,500 some places. And like, something I had bought in this Lagos of 12,000 naira, you know. But things came down. But farmers are saying that, no, they're importing food. Please tell us what's going on exactly.
Okay, so many things going on about the same time. So one, there was this government policy last year giving concession on import of grains and other things. Yeah. So some of it was successful. Grains came into the country and all that. So that's one angle to it. We are also in the season of harvest of some commodities. So that's also adding to the joy we are seeing in the market.
Okay, it's a harvest season.
Harvest season for grains like maize, some peppers are in the market. So that's also good news. I think also we also realized that some IDP camps are not functioning at the moment. So those who would have mopped food for IDPs are not mopping the volume they would have mopped. So we also have that in the market. And of course, our borders are not that 100% secured at the moment. So people still bring in, through the borders as well. So those are some of the factors we are seeing now. So it's just a relief, temporary, not the permanent one that we are all hoping for, because like you rightly said, the farmers are not happy at the moment, because you look at your cost of production last year and what you had anticipated in making in revenue to be able to stay in business. Most farmers are actually going to be making below their projected revenue, which is why farmers are not happy, that they should have been factored into some of these policies, so that prices are not crashing. And the gap has always been, if there's a commodity board factoring what you had spent and what you expected, so that you remain in business, then farmers will not be complaining.
Why are we worried about you staying in business?
No, because if I don't stay in business, I cannot sustain yam right now. I mentioned it because last year yam was selling for 5,000, 6,000. People are happy to be buying yam cheaper now, but I bought yam to plant when it was at that
price.
rate. That was how I bought seedling. I bought expensive
sorry
seedling.
To disturb you. I'm sorry. I'm a consumer. Because we are here talking about Dangote fuel. The person that bought imported fuel, that one doesn't concern Nigeria. We are happy that the fuel is cheaper. So why are the issue that I have been with your cost price?
No, you have
I'm getting my food cheap.
You have to be concerned. Maybe Elijah should speak first before I speak.
You have to be concerned because government has added the subsidy to this importation and giving waivers, and it is not long-term sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Eventually, to those farmers who have lost money, they will now double it, which is what happened under the anchor borers. Even though there was an anchor borer, it was ridiculously more expensive.
What would also happen is you have less number of farmers farming maybe this year, and then you now have the repercussion next year or later this year. The prices will now. So you have to consider those who are producing. If you don't consider them, they will watch. Those that will leave the business will leave, but those that will stay, and nobody will run out of business at the end of the day.
So we're always having this kind of issues anytime they import products. Farmers are always suffering and all of that.
Yeah.
What could be a lasting solution to this, so in a way that farmers will be happy, and even when we import, everybody will be happy.
No, so it's a good policy. I think one of the solutions is let's have a commodity board. What we do is somebody is factoring all the stakeholders You know, I was with one of my own bank last week discussing on some of our projects for the year. No bank will give you less than 25% commercial bank as at today, maybe just for short-time loan. Some of the loans we took last year, we were paying 39% on some of the projects. So imagine I'd done that with the numbers I had last year, and you run me out of business. I'm not going back to my village now because I'm too young. I'll stay in business. But somehow the system has to keep me in business. So we have to have a commodity board factoring the cost of production, factoring the market into every policy and decision we are making. So that's one major solution, because we also look at what we are enjoying now. Why it can't last forever is because we need to have storage capacity to take our harvest. It's actually because some people cannot keep their product, that's why they're pushing to the market. Products that are not very perishable, people are keeping it. Waiting for when they can sell it at good rates. So they won't sell everything. It's the ones that are perishable. People will push those ones out. But the ones that they can keep, they will keep and they will be waiting for you that, okay, you guys will come back. So we have to have good storage capacity. We have to have commodity boards. The solution cannot be this superficial, because what we are enjoying now is superficial. It has to be something that is fundamental, and I think the government are taking some steps. We can give them kudos for that. But you look at, like Tope rightly said, the cost of production has to be addressed. That is the main thing we should be talking about. I was looking at what do we buy fertilizers for, even in Nigeria. As of 2020, we buy fertilizer for 8,000 in this country. 7,000 for a 50 kg bag. It went to about 17,000 in 2021, 2022. Now it's between 52,000 to 64,000.
How many years?
Just within a short period. We used to pay some of our farm hands 1,000, 2,000 some years back. Now we pay 6,000, 7,000 for somebody to work for you for maybe
a few hours.
A few hours.
Let me ask you about, because I met him at shift conference, and I dragged him. I told him, sit down. Please, where is the money in this agriculture? That was my question to him, because I dabbled into it and I felt like, okay, let's see how it can be profitable, and it's been headache upon headache. So I imagine other farmers are going through it. What is the government missing out on? You already addressed commodity board, so that there is a balance. I know when I plant, this is how much I would sell. There's nothing
and the government body is protecting
it. It's protecting me and protecting to ensure it would also protect the consumer.
Even they will buy uniform price all through the year.
Then what else can be done to also ensure that farmers can sustain their business, to ensure there is food all year round?
All year round. I think one of the things that can be done is what government is doing now. We are only praying that they see it through. Which is the recapitalization of the Bank of Agric. That's one of the most fantastic things we are hearing now. That 1.5 trillion, if it can go to the bank, and if the bank would disburse to farmers, if the bank would disburse that money to farmers, then price, like I just gave you an example of a number of what I'm going through with a commercial bank. So, but if a bank is going to give me at single digits, then I can sleep. Then instead of doing maybe 100 hectares, I can take the gamble and do 200 hectares. I can take the gamble, do 300 hectares. So those are the things. If that money, unlike the anchor borrower that we cannot really say if it went where it went, but if this one can go, and if they can also look at how easy people can access that fund, because it's also one thing to say there's money to be assessed. Is it accessible? If that can be easily accessible, then I think we might start having...
Just because you asked the question, where did the anchor borrowers go? Do you have a body of people in this business? Do you have a body for farmers? And do you check yourselves? Do you have ethical practices? Because people got this money. People with names got this money.
But do you have their names, ma? You don't have their names. You don't work with the bank. It was disbursed through CBN. So you don't have those data.
But do you have a body? Do you know any benefits?
Yes, I'm the chairman of Agriculture LCCI, for example. So what we do is just, you can ask questions, you can say your view, but I'm not EFCC. It's EFCC that can say, okay, how was this money disbursed? EFCC can ask questions, but we are not in any way empowered or authorized to do that. We can only ask, where did the money go? So that's the only thing.
Okay, so we have been importing. For us to be importing products, it means that the farmers cannot produce to sustain the country, right?
Okay.
So and I've
no, that's
known,
not a fact.
Yes, so and I've known that they have been pumping money. You know, every government that comes in is always pumping money into this agriculture, this thing. So it looks like the money, they are not using the money for the right things, because so far, sometimes when I go to the north and I see their farmlands, I see that most of them, they are still planting these things manually. Yeah. And when you do it manually, you don't get smart scale, yeah. So why can't the money be diverted to bringing in, you know, tractors, you know, all those seed planters and all of that?
Yeah, no, I think that's been done recently,
them.
about 2 weeks ago. Out of the 10 tractors we are expecting, I think about 2,000 has entered the country. So the minister has shown that. So that's also a good step in this.
So there's progress.
So there's progress.
Okay.
The only thing is transparency in the process is the only concern now. You know, it's one thing to see 2,000 tractors. It's another thing, maybe after 6 months, there's no more tractor in Nigeria. Or you can't see any tractor again.
Or you can't access it. It's those that have connection that will.
Or you end up seeing, for example, I've queried something about the tractors, which I'm not saying on here now, you know, that there should be transparency to show goodwill. We should start seeing the effect of the location where you are putting them.
And they publicize the location?
Currently, I think they are mostly in Abuja. So my own question is, if the forces that came, why should everything go to Abuja?
Exactly.
At least show us goodwill. Let them keep some in Southwest. Let them keep some in South-South.
We also farm here in Lagos.
So, but taking everything to Abuja, but I think I heard that probably they are bringing some to Ibadan.
I expect
because I'll be wondering why take. So I think some of those good steps. I think the fair now is because we've seen such before.
That's only a region benefited.
That only probably not even benefited, but just went somehow.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really trace.
So that happened because the Nigerians.
Because Nigerian factors, so the doubt. I think it's about
sell it to their friends in Burkina Faso.
Yes, doubting the process. So if there's something now that the government needs to do, is to be very transparent. Like you said, we don't have to import. You look at what Nigeria was doing in the 60s, and you cry if it's the same country we are living in. Nigeria was exporting massively, getting good revenues, just doing about 6 commodities. But even those commodities we are exporting them, we are barely exporting them. You look at our budget for last year, I won't go to the previous years. You look at what impact research is doing in agriculture. We had about 362 billion given to the ministry last year. About 124 billion went to the headquarters. About 102 went to National Development, Agricultural Development Fund. You now gave 51 billion to research. Out of the 51 billion to be shared by 19 institutions, 33 was to use for salaries. 33 billion for salaries. So the less than 19 billion left. So what research can you do with that? With 19 institutions. So we are also now bringing in hybrid seeds, new seeds that can cope with the climate change and everything we are going through. So those are the areas I think we should be funding, not spending too much on over. We should be talking about research. For example, this morning we saw in the paper that about 12 states will be going through serious heat stress. That also affects animals.
Yes.
Somebody was telling me yesterday that she was trying to set up a small poultry in Adamawa. And one day the heat was so much last year that she was very uncomfortable where she was. So she ran home and she saw that the chicken were almost about giving up, that she had to rush and slaughter them. And freeze them to now sell them.
If not, she would have lost
Imagine had 80,000 in that same poultry, or 2,000, because people have that capacity. So you
will just die.
And the person will probably just lose money.
It's quite sad indeed. I mean, because since Buhari's administration, we're talking agriculture, and you think that by now things will get better. They would have gotten more. So it's quite sad to see that we're still almost in a roller coaster. But I hope that indeed, as you said, that some of these new policies that have been that have been put in place would actually yield fruit for our growth. Anyway, final question.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about the impact of insecurity. So today we took the story of bandits and headers killing farmers, killing surveyors, and this was across many states. And do you think that Nigeria, the government, is actively fighting the structure that is encouraging banditry? And what is the impact of banditry and insecurity on our food sustainability drive?
Of course, it has reduced the land size available for agriculture. It has reduced it because if you are not sure of going and coming back home, you rather go and do something else. You see some states now that the guys that used to do agriculture, they are now Okada riders.
Yeah.
And they've left the job for the local people like us to be doing, and you understand. So I think that's one major impact. You discourage people. And it has discouraged some people. I think I was talking to a lady, she left a project, abandoned a project of over 3 billion in Osun State.
Because she was kidnapped.
She was, she abandoned that project. I tried to encourage her, but she's a lady, and she's in her mid-40s, and she just felt. And so that's one impact. But the government, I think they've been trying in some areas, but I think they can do better.
There's only so much government can do. People also need to be willing to. We have to wrap up with you, unfortunately. But finally, I mean, what are your last words, just in case government is listening to you? I heard about the commodities board, which is great.
Yeah.
What other great ideas can you give as we wrap up?
So I would say the government should not give us with the right hand and think with the left, because that's what has been happening. Our cost of production, the cost of fuel goes down. You are happy that your logistics costs will come down, but they increase tariff on electricity, so you are paying more. They increase your costs.
That's all over, not just you. We have to wrap up. So that's all we can take on this. I'm told that the media parley with the FCT minister, which will be linking up very soon right now. Okay. So we'll be taking up that right now. And so we'll have that conversation with Wiki. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jammies.
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one
At this point, I contest my jammies.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's all we can take. Ejeki, close the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, #1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for #1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
Another.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, but you know one thing that's actually keeping me back?
You should start the gym to get fat.
Cricket.
She says she does show dancing to empower women.
What's the difference? There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer,
you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
The empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No. Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You see some spoils.
That woman.
Damn.
Yeah, today we'll go here.
Hey.
Let's get talking.
And so we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Pure Entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Thanks for staying with us. We're told that we're going to try to get in our correspondent, because I had mentioned earlier that a 30-foot tanker had rolled over at the Otedola bridge yesterday. We're trying to get our correspondent, Sarah, who's going to be giving us an update on what's happening at the Otedola bridge. It was quite a devastating outcome, and I'm told that Sarah is there. Good morning, Sarah. Are you there? Good morning, Sarah. Okay. Sarah, are you there? Okay, so we're trying to get Sarah, because I mean, when you guys heard that this story was really, I mean, I said that the church in that area burnt, because I know that church.
The Otedola bridge is a constant scene of several accidents. Yesterday, there were 2 accidents on the Otedola bridge. On both sides. In the morning, on one side, involved a trailer who also couldn't fail to brake, breached, caused massive traffic from Otedola bridge all the way to Long Bridge that I saw for myself yesterday morning. Then the same place in the evening, there was another accident that now involved a gas that led to explosion. So that place is like a constant ground for accidents always happening. And I remember we had the former, then he was minister for works. Yes, and he spoke about putting brakes, like bumps. They were going to put something that would slow trailers. He spoke about it over 2-3 years ago. Till date, we don't have it there. Then we are complaining that we're having loss of lives. Like, we're not the ones who are. It is the ministry that is slaughtering people in that place, because you know what could be done to prevent these accidents from happening.
But it's also a slope.
It's a slope. That's why you must slow. They need the trucks to slow down very well before getting there.
It's possible he had that idea, and they spoke to engineers and just say it might not be right. So it's one thing to have a good idea, but because we don't even know.
A1 and BF1, what they call the major express road.
Yes. Okay, I'm told that the correspondent is ready for a look. It's okay. So Sarah, are you there? Sarah, I'm trying to get Sarah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi. Right.
Hi. Could you thank you for joining us? So could you give us an update on what's going on over there at the Otedola bridge? Has the truck been moved so far? Did you get that? Could you give us an update on what's happening, Sarah?
So the truck has not been moved yet. So what you see right now is they just moved the head of the truck. That's the head of the truck. So the tanker is somewhere there, and they're trying to, they just brought in some heavy goods lifting truck to lift the tanker and then the head of the truck. And so what we know for now is that we've heard from the emergency responders that 4 persons have been confirmed dead. They found one body at an area there close to the mechanic village where some persons called the person Ogarotimi. They understand that they said he was trying to save a customer's vehicle when the explosion happened, and then it got burned, and then he died at that section of the mechanic village. I also understand that 2 bodies were recovered from some other vehicles that were affected by the incident. And so for now, what we see the emergency responders do is try to move out the wreckage of, that's the wreck from the gas tanker and then ensure that we have free flow of traffic on this road, because you know the CMD road is also, of course, an alternative to the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. It's also the route for those that are living in Otedola Estate, and so it's been shut down since about 8 p.m. last night. And so you've had them divert traffic from this particular section where you have an NNPC gas pipeline underneath this road. So they've diverted traffic to the other lane so that people going into the estate can go directly into the estate. So if you don't really have any business on this lane of the road, you just have to use the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Wow. So we read in the reports that the churches there were burnt down. How many houses can you confirm got burnt? Wow.
So for now, we've just seen just one building really affected. That's this residential building over here. This residential building also houses a dental clinic. As at the time this incident happened, the dental clinic had been shut, closed for business for the day. So right now, we understand that the landlord of this particular building also escaped the incident. But let me try and bring on the emergency responders, one of them, Engineer Kisonya. Yeah. It's good to have you join us. You are live on your view. So talk to us about what you've seen, your assessment of this incident so far. I know that you've been here since 8 p.m. last night where this incident happened, but give us an assessment and confirm to us how many bodies have you recovered from this incident?
Yesterday we have a situation in our hands, and of course practically LASEMA together with all other stakeholders, Lagos State Fire Service, FRCN, Lagos State Police, LASMA and LASAMBOS, we worked hand in hand to ensure public safety and of course respond to the emergency at hand. So yesterday, as of yesterday evening, we had 4 fatality, and of course I've been able to rescue not less than 20 victims, and we're stabilized at the scene of incident, and of course some of them with some level a 50% degree of burns were taken to the Gagada Burns unit, and some of them were taken to General Hospital for secondary treatments.
So for you last night, what was the battle like? I know that over time the trucks had to go back to get water to, put out the fire. What was the battle like? Because I saw that the men kept working all through this morning, and I still understand that this morning there was still fire, at some sections of this area where the incident happened.
The battle was clear, but it's not overwhelming. The LASEMA together with other stakeholders we rose up to the challenge, and we're able to be on top of the situations. We're able to manage the incident and the challenges that comes with it. You will recall that this is a gas explosion, one of the most volatile materials you can have is gas. It's highly volatile and it travels very fast. And of course, I want to give a credit to the Mr. Governor for empowering Mr. Babajide Olusola for empowering, the emergency services. This has exactly compared to other. It's a top notch in Lagos compared to other states. So.
But the concern now is how some of these victims will be compensated. Have you been able to identify the owner of this gas tanker?
Once we are done with the recovery, yesterday 100% of response and rescue were completed. Now we're moving into the phase of recovery. At this point, we will commence disaster enumerations. We will enumerate and evaluate the level of the impact, and of course after that we'll present it to the appropriate authority. For
not the owner of the gas tanker.
So far so good. No one has even come forward to claim the ownership of the tanker. Nobody. But then the government has a system. This is the beauty of this government. It has a system that unravels so much mystery that often gets it out of hand in the past. So in the next 2-3 days, we will get to the owner.
Yeah, so Mariah, I understand that someone was also in the truck. We're not sure of the identity of the person yet. Some persons are saying it's either the motorboy or the driver of the truck, but the person was also burnt. They just moved out the body a couple of minutes ago.
Very good.
One of the questions for many people that live within that area and those whose everyday activities follow that area is how soon will the entire area be cleared off completely from what you're seeing and the activities going on there? Where do you foresee that normalcy will return to the roads for those that are going through that side of Lagos?
I think it should take. I think within the hour we should have this place cleared off.
Okay.
So for now, we understand that they've moved almost all of the vehicles that were affected. That's those vehicles affected that are along this stretch of the road. So the major thing now is to move the gas tanker. This is the tanker right here. That's the major thing. If they can move this tanker off the road, that means that this road can be cleared, and then motorists can use the road, and then normalcy, of course, some form of normalcy will return. But there are still some other vehicles that were affected. The vehicles, some of them are in the mechanic village, and so some of them were affected. So just like the emergency responder that we spoke with earlier said, that what they're doing right now, they're at the recovery stage. After now, they are going to recover all of the vehicles, take inventory of some of the vehicles that were destroyed, go to some. There's a church that is not too far from here, which is the next building after this residential building. It had just a slight impact, but it was not really burnt by the fire. We've not been allowed to gain access to it because of the private property. But for this particular building, this is the only building that was really, really affected by the fire. That's aside the vehicles we've seen and of course, the casualties we've reported.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving us an update, and we really hope that before the end of the day, we get more stories from this. I mean, really sad. I mean, the souls of that departed.
For me, that's my dentist. That's my dental clinic. Like, this is where my kids and my entire family gets dental treatment. I just quickly sent a message to the owner of the place to just commiserate with her, because there's a huge investment.
And that's loss.
It's a huge, because I did videos the last time I went there. Huge investment.
Oh God.
That
went up in flames.
That went up in flames. And we are hoping that the insurance company will be able to come through if they have insurance against fire. Because how many of us think that we insure car, but do we insure equipment and things inside the office and all of that? We know what causes this thing, Mariah. We've had this, we've shared and shake our head like this too many times on this show for
and we need experts to come and explain what can be done.
They said there are ways they can realign those. There's a type of.
There was a device. They agreed that Nupeng should
make it compulsory
in each of the tankers.
But it's expensive, and they did not do it. And
we had the Delta State explosion that happened.
We have to go on a shop because I've told our guest is here waiting. I mean, really sad story. The souls of those who have departed, rest in peace. And I hope that the government can do something that this doesn't happen again. Let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll have to bring in our next guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
think you can outplay me in this game of wits and knowledge? Can you go 7 rounds without flinching? I meant answering 7 questions correctly. How well can you hold your liquor? If you're curious, then join us for the most exciting conversation and games with your favorite celebrities on 7 of 7.
Welcome to Pure Entertainment. What would you like to order from our menu today? We have the regulars.
So let me go and look for my jam results. So
My 280 was 320. I suppose don't be one medical.
At this point, I contest my jam results.
I want to close the show.
I can go. I can.
That's
I
all
can
we can
but
take.
I choose to
Ejek,
stay.
close the show here for that long.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 1 unavailable by Davido featuring Musa Keys.
We also have today's chef special.
Yo, shine, 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 shiny, yeah. Say recap done, and it's time for number 1 on the countdown. One of Nigeria's hottest artists right now, his name is Rema, and this one is called Charm. Kick it.
For dessert and a bit of nightcap, we have the nighttime and online specials.
I want to start the gym, yeah? But do you know one thing that's actually keeping me back? You should start the gym, though. You're getting fat.
Cricket.
She says she does show dancing to empower women.
What's the difference?
There's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. So pole dancer, you're already almost naked. You're already almost naked.
It's the empowerment for me.
Sex can make your relationship better.
No.
Sex can never be overrated.
It is needed.
Especially when it's good sex too.
Almost every guy has been with somebody's girlfriend.
But they are for all of us now.
That's why you're still single.
I would not agree or disagree with that because I don't want to get into trouble. I have a home to go to.
Your next question.
Oh, you ready to fail?
Who is the better? You scissors. What is his name?
That woman.
Bam! Bam!
Today we'll go here.
Hey!
Let's catch up now.
I'm sure we've been able to satisfy your cravings, yeah? Stay good. Entertainment for Pure Entertainment. Now you can catch up with your favorite programs on TVC. Log on to www.youtube.com/TVC Entertainment. Join the fun.
Oh, wow. My typical day is filled with meetings, consultations, and of course, traffic. And that's all part of the hustle and bustle of city life. But the real fun starts when I can just settle down and catch up with all my favorite programs on TVC. Believe me, it's pure entertainment.
Thanks for staying with us. As part of our celebration for International Women's Month, we're still celebrating women. So with us today is a dynamic leader, a dedicated advocate for gender inclusivity in the corporate world. She's the Director Legal at the IHS Nigeria Limited and plays a key role in overseeing the company's legal strategy, regulatory compliance, and risk management. Beyond her legal expertise, she's also the very passionate advocate for women's empowerment in the workplace. Welcome with us, Yemisi Diaz-Salawo in the building.
Thank you very
How are you
much,
doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
We love
Thank
women
you.
who are doing great things, who are building their careers and opening doors for other women.
Yes,
Tell us a bit about yourself, how you made it into the IHS and what you do there.
So, I'm a lawyer, to start with. She's a lawyer as well,
Yes.
so yeah. I qualified in England first, and as our old generational parents will do, come home. So I came home and I joined a law firm, a tier 1 law firm, where I practiced for almost 10 years. And I met my husband.
Nice.
And then we got married, and it was a family decision to say, okay, what do you want to do next? And I chose to go in-house, like we lawyers call it. And I joined IHS Nigeria Limited in 2016. I've been there now 9+ years.
Wow.
And what do? We're a telecoms infrastructure company, but I oversee the legal aspects of the business. But of course, I'm very passionate, like you just said, about women in the corporate world. And so I saw the opportunity and I took it as best as I could. And for me, when you have an idea, it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to have support. And so the tone at the top was very clear when it was tabled before executive management to say, we want to do this. We want to, set up a network for our women to have a platform, a structured platform, and not just talk around the issues. And so we have the Women in IHS network that we set up for empowering our women.
What does empowerment mean? Because we hear this word as used loosely. Everybody's
networks everywhere.
Everybody's empowering. What does that even mean?
Having a voice.
Okay.
Having a voice, being the voice for the voiceless. That's what the structure is supposed to do. I'm hoping it's doing, and it should continue to do that. And empowerment means different things to different people, like you said. I can be empowered, but I think I'm empowered, and somebody else is looking at you thinking, you're not empowered. You think you are, but you're not. But if you have a structure where you have pillars for what you stand for, you have a goal, you have objectives that you want to achieve, both as a business and in your personal lives, and you can table it, and you can begin to tick them off one after the other, and you look back and say, okay, I've done this, you feel empowered.
So, when you were talking about having a voice, it just occurred to me that I just feel like we have too many networks. Almost every TVC has a network, and a women's network and it occurred to me that when we talk about harassment, abuse, and all of those things, sometimes those networks provide a platform for you to find someone to talk to.
Yes.
Please educate people watching on the importance of having those kind of communities within organizations, and what interventions has your community that you championed brought into the organization?
It's extremely important. Communities, and whether we like it or not, we are in a very diverse country, from a religious angle to tribe, everything. It's very diverse, and to that extent, what I found was that some people feel more comfortable talking to somebody that looks like them, that can represent them better, sounds like them. And so what we have done with WIN and at IHS is to set up what we call the Safe Zone Committee. And what the Safe Zone Committee does is to create an enabling environment where women can walk up to another woman and talk about their issues. We also try to plug in a female-only clinic where women, depending on what they are complaining about, if it's health-related, then they can go to the female-only clinic where they are more comfortable, they can relate, they can open up, because that's another issue that we have. Women tend to bottle things up. Sure. So that's the platform we've created, which is headed by...
I like the idea of platforms. I'll come to the ladies very soon, but one of the fears women have is that when I come and tell you my issues, I'm going to hear it outside. Yeah. Because there is that issue, because I know I have shared some of my innermost hurts with somebody, and then that story, I heard it far away in Abuja, and I'm thinking, how in the world did this happen? It's painful. But of course, so I'm like, because I thought I was speaking to somebody who was a safe place to me. But so how do we as women, or not just in your own organization, but what do you think women can do to hold each other's secrets? Is it possible for us to do that, do you think?
It's very possible, and I think that I agree with you, and I think that's why a lot of women are not as vulnerable as they think we are. They will say women are emotional, but are we vulnerable? And those fears exist. It really does exist. And what I think is, first, I think it shouldn't be everybody that should do certain things. I hear you on, we have a lot of networks, and because we're all women doesn't mean we're all allowed to do everything. Stick to your strength. Stick to your strength. We all have it, so find what you are extremely good at. So what I've identified is the fact that you know certain people that are really good at either coaching or counseling or, you know, just great interpersonal skills. And once you find those sort of people, I believe they are the secret keepers, they are the they're the protectors, let me put it that way. There's an amazing person in IHS called Buki, and that's what she does. She's a coach. She's just fantastic at that, and we've not had any incidents, at least. Thank God for that.
Okay, from the way you have, from all you have said so far and all of that, I can see that you've been dealing with a lot of women and all of that. So, can you tell us some of the challenges that you've faced so far in terms of them finding their voice and how you've made their voices heard?
Development.
Okay.
Training. Understanding who they are, what they can do, how far they can go. You find that once, in the corporate world at least, once women get in, you can find maybe 100 of them, and as the ladder goes, it dwindles, the numbers reduce, and you have to ask yourself, why? And what we have identified is purely development. They need somebody to, first of all, talk to, like we've identified, and then explain, this is what you need to do next. This is a step you need to take. No, you're going the wrong way. So then comes the famous topic of mentoring. And it works. Mentoring works. Find a mentor that you can align with. It's not just this person is popular, I want this person to be my mentor. No. Do your values align? Do you appreciate the profile of that person? Is there something you want to emulate from that person? Not because they are popular. So mentoring works. In the corporate space, sponsoring works because they're two different things. And once you're able to plug into those two, I believe that it does work. Okay. It does work.
So, because there's a joke that says women issues are men. Everything, menstruation, menopause and all of that.
That's an interesting perspective.
So what are some of the most common issues that you deal with as women? Do they have family problems at home? Is it hindering their progress in the workplaces? Are they silenced at home before they get to what exactly are the issues
that we face the most? Yes, those issues are very prominent, and it came through.
Is it main issues also?
Well, partially, because you can't take away the men from menstruation, right? But yes, those issues are very common, and one that we don't talk about a lot is menopause. It's hormonal. It causes a lot of a lot of changes, and you have to focus on it, to be quite honest. And we are very structured with our platform, so maybe that's why we've come a long way. But what we've done is we have a couple of initiatives that we've put in place. We have IVF and fertility support for our women. That takes away the financial and emotional burden to a certain extent, because they know that, okay, somebody is paying for it. I have the time and space to go and get this treatment, and yes, my career will still be waiting for me. We have an extremely good structure for maternity. We have a 6-month maternity leave for women. that is paid.
Wow.
And your job will still be secure. We have support for women that have special needs children.
Wow.
Again, it takes away the financial burden. It takes away the emotional
Everybody
stress.
wants to come and work in your...
It takes away all of those things. So
it's good. I mean, I like that you because the idea for you bringing you is people can learn from what you're doing.
Yes.
Because in our organization, for example, we had a daycare. Since we moved here, it was not functional here, but back in our old building. And the reason was because lots of women needed somewhere to bring their kids. So it's good for your company that is also very forward-thinking for women to help other companies who also want to do something similar to get ideas. So I like the IVF idea to support. You support them financially and also the extended. I would love that in this.
I know. Let me tell you what we did differently with daycare. So we give them the money for the daycare that they choose.
Okay.
Because what we found is that in putting a daycare in the office, it can be limiting. Because it can be limiting, it can be distracting, and then you don't want to defeat the purpose.
Yes.
And so the caregiver may not necessarily be just the mom. It may be the nanny, the grandma, even the husband. So it's a case of wherever you're living, if you select a daycare near your home, that's fine. So we don't have a daycare in our building. We left it open for them to find their own daycare, and we financially support.
I want to talk about career growth because a lot of women are always scared of that next phase. Like they are comfortable where they are. Their salaries are fine. They're paying their bills, but they see other women growing and think,
I want this.
They want it, but they just don't know how. They don't know the process. They're not ready. So what can we do to encourage women to aspire to get to something better than where they are?
First of all, personal branding. Like find yourself. Who are you? What do you stand for? What do you want to gain from your life in general? Put that, put pen to paper. Understand yourself first. Then you take the next step. What's the next step? So at IHS, we do a lot of what we call knowledge sharing sessions, which are internal, because we have 33% female board membership at IHS Towers, and we've grown 53% year in, year out since 2021 in female employee numbers. And it's an attraction in the first instance. And then secondly, we do a lot of training, like I said. We do a lot of training. We try to identify your talents. We try to identify where you are lacking, and we plug into that. There are a lot of conversations that go on, mentoring again, but there's something that we are starting called Board of Advisors. And what that means is that it's only the female leader that will sort of supervise a small group of women. That way it's more, it's personal, it's more intimate. You can easily pinpoint what you need to do for each person. So again, training, finding yourself, personal branding, and self-improvement.
So this year's theme is Accelerate Action. So for International Women's Month, what do you think we need to accelerate action on as a woman?
Speaking for each other.
Advocating
for each other.
I love
Let
that.
your voice be heard, not in your little corner, pointing fingers, oh, this person did not do it well. What are you doing in your space? If everybody contributes, we would move. We would move. I was seeing some statistics to say we would only close the gap by 2158. Initially, I was like, is that a password? I'm like, how many years is that? We don't have time. We don't have time.
It's about 100 years.
Yes, we don't have time. So if everybody collectively speaks with one voice, with one agenda, we will move. That's the action that we all need to do and accelerate it.
Wow, fantastic. Any comments, ladies?
It's just interesting. I love people that told the career path. I think that we need to hear more of them. We'll see the entrepreneurs are more forward with sharing their stories about their
than the corporate world.
Corporate world. I just don't want to. My office doesn't allow it. My role doesn't. So I hope that we'll have more the networks within corporate world allow women to share their stories, because we can then inspire our younger people to see that there is growth within the corporate world for them, and they don't necessarily have to hit the streets on the hustling journey of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you all so much. This was great.
That's all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.